is 7 News now.
Breaking news, one person is dead after a series of fires in Dudley. What police are telling us about the victim.
We have some new details in an alleged assault that happened on board a Brighton school bus. What police now believe happened.
And lots of sunshine out there, but cold temperatures are back as well. How long will they last? We'll have all that and much more.
Stay with the news station. 7 News at noon is up next.
More questions.
This is 7 News at noon.
First up here at noon, we have some breaking news. One person is dead after a series of fires in Dudley. Police investigating after fires in a car, a shed, and part of a home. And this is some video from the scene earlier today. Police also say they believe the victim was involved in starting those fires.
7's Byron Barnett is live in Dudley with the breaking details. Byron.
Well, right now, there are more questions and answers. Authorities are just in the beginning stage of their investigations after finding, I guess, a house and a car on fire. Behind me, you can see there's this house where this all happened, and there's a vehicle in front of that truck with the plow there. That's one of the vehicles that was on fire. Now, authorities were on the scene here in Dudley. They were called out about 7 o'clock this morning for a report of a car fire. Officials say when they arrived, they found not only a car on fire, but also a house and a shed on fire as well. After officials put the fires out, they say they found an adult male inside the house who was deceased. The state fire marshal says the person who died is believed to have been, quote, immediately, intimately involved with starting the fires. Now, we got this information from the fire chief. He spoke just a few minutes ago.
Initially, it was only the two vehicles that were on fire, so that was what we were concentrating on at the time. The house was then discovered to be on fire, so we had the cars knocked down, but obviously the house is the most important piece on the property that you want to put out first, because you're not aware if there's any people inside or not at that point.
Yeah, once again, here's a look at that car that was on fire as well. A car, there was another vehicle like an ATV, a shed, and a house. And again, we have one fatality here. No information on the identity of the individual who was found in the house. Authorities saying they're in the process of notifying the next of kin. The investigators are being pretty tight-lipped about this, but we're told we may hear a little bit more later in the day from the DA's office. That's the latest live here in Dudley. I'm Byron Barnett, 7 News.
To the nation remembering a president, lawmakers gathering for a solemn salute, paying their respects at the Capitol Rotunda for the 41st president of the United States, George H.W. Bush.
Friends and citizens also paying their respects as the tributes continue to come in. This is a live look inside the Rotunda where you can see that American flag draped over the casket where George H.W. Bush lies in state. The Rotunda will remain open to the public until tomorrow morning, and then a funeral service will be held at Washington's National Cathedral.
7's Dan Housley is live in Washington, D.C. with more on the remembrance and the ceremonies planned. Dan?
Well, we were by the Rotunda earlier this morning, and it's kind of surprising how much time some of the people just stand there in thought and watch. For many of them, it's not a quick trip through there. They pick up one of these very nice cards here and sign a guest book before going in. We talked to some of them on the way out about why they were here. And a member of the Bush family is talking about their family's relationship with the current resident of the White House. A constant stream of mourners files by the casket of President George H.W. Bush, lying in state in the Capitol Rotunda, each with their own reason, like Peter Murphy of Newton.
George Bush was the first president that I voted for, and it was very special to me. Very special time, special man, and his legacy is, shown that.
I worked under his administration, yes. Best president we ever had. I liked his character. I liked everything about his administration.
President Trump and First Lady Melania stopped by the Rotunda Monday night to pay their respects, the president saluting, the First Lady holding her hand over her heart. The president offered Blair House to the Bush family, the official visitor's residence right across the street from the White House. President Trump tweeting Tuesday morning, looking forward to being with the wonderful Bush family at Blair House today. The former First Lady will be coming over to the White House this morning to be given a tour of the Christmas decorations by Melania. The elegance and precision of the last 2 days have been remarkable. Some have questioned the Bush family's graciousness to President Trump, given President Trump's history of strong, sometimes mocking comments directed toward Bush 41's sons, President George W. Bush and Florida Governor Jeb Bush, and even to George H.W. Bush himself. But grandson George P. Bush, who was endorsed by President Trump for Texas Land Commissioner, says the family believes this is a time to follow George H.W. Bush's lessons of when to put politics aside.
If my grandfather were here, he'd say during his many campaigns where he had tough campaigns against Lloyd Bentsen and other famous Democrats, fellow Republicans, Ronald Reagan and others, is that, there's a time for politics and there's a time for governing. But there's also a time for reflection. And this is a time for reflection for our country, to think about the values that make our country great.
And moments ago, this scene inside the Rotunda, one of the president's sons, Neil Bush, visiting the casket during the public viewing hours. He was with the family there yesterday when the legislators welcomed the casket there to Congress, but decided apparently to go back during the public viewing as well. Among others who have been visiting today, there's been former Joint Chief of Staff Chairman Colin Powell. And as we were going out, we saw the CIA Director Gina Haspel coming in. She was one of 3 current or former CIA directors visiting today, along with John Brennan and George Tenet. Of course, George H.W. Bush was the only CIA director to rise to the level of commander-in-chief. We're live in Washington. Dan Housley, 7 News.
Dan, obviously there are so many people walking by the casket to say goodbye, and a lot of people planning to attend the services tomorrow. Who's who of the political world at Washington's National Cathedral, but I understand there will be some guests from overseas expected as well?
That's right. We just got word today that Prince Charles will be coming and representing his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. She released a statement after the Bush death calling the 41st president a patriot, serving his country with honor and distinction in office and during the Second World War. And of course, this will be a gathering of all 4 living U.S. presidents. Again, the Bush family saying that no matter what, they wanted to include the current resident of the White House, no matter who that would be. Back to you.
All right. Dan Housley live outside of the Capitol in Washington. And this is another live look inside of the Capitol Rotunda. And you can see there at the bottom the American flag draped over the casket where the body of President George H.W. Bush continues to lie in state. 7 News will continue bringing you live coverage of President Bush's funeral, which is set for tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 10 o'clock. Be sure you stay with the news station as America says goodbye to 41. Dan Housley will bring you more live reports from Washington, D.C., and Brandon Gano will be live in Houston when services begin there.
7 News now turning to the forecast, and what a difference a day makes. Some sunshine out there, but colder temperatures have also returned. Meteorologist Josh Worcester here now with more on how long the cold conditions will stick around. Josh.
Yeah, get used to it. The good news is the sunshine sticks around with it, but for much of the next week, we get the sunshine and we get the cold air that sticks around. So if you happen to have the afternoon off and want to hit the ski hill, bundle up. Temperatures will be into the mid to low 20s. Again, that'll be north of us. It'll feel, though, like the 20s and even teens if you're heading out there later on this afternoon. Closer to home, still plenty chilly, but not quite as bad. Temperatures right about 40 degrees for a lot of us, but this is as warm as we get today. We'll be continuing to pump in colder air with some pretty gusty winds, which not only bringing in the cold air, but also that wind chill factor. Feels like it's 31 right now in Boston, 30 in Bedford. Jaffrey at 21 for the feels like temperature and 24 in Nashua. So through the afternoon, temperatures start to fall off through the 30s and eventually the 20s and knock off about 10 degrees for that wind chill factor. If you're heading out today, certainly bundle up. And like I said, it sticks around for quite a while. This is actually one of the warmer days on the 7-day forecast, and we'll have that in a few minutes.
A destructive fire leading to a tragic discovery in Millbury. Crews found the body of a teenage boy in the rubble, and 7's John Coco is live in Millbury now this noon with the details of what we know happened. John?
So, Chris, right now this fire is still being investigated. The body of that teenage boy was found Saturday night. 3 other people inside the home were able to escape. The Millbury Fire Department says the fire broke out in the living room of this home on Stone Road at around 9 Saturday night. That's where the body of the boy was found, in the rubble. One of the 3 people that escaped did have burns to his face and arm while trying to put out the flames with a fire extinguisher. The cause of the fire is still being investigated, and right now the DA's office is still waiting on those autopsy results for the teenage boy. That's the latest live here in Millbury. John Coco, 7 News.
New details at noon. Police say no charges are being filed after a man confronted a school bus driver following an incident on the road. It happened just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Lincoln and Waverly Streets in Brighton. Authorities say the bus driver missed a step and fell out of the bus, hurting himself. The bus was full of students. Initial reports indicated the bus driver was assaulted. Authorities are continuing to investigate. A Paxton man pleading not guilty to chilling charges in connection with his brother's death. Police say they responded to Monticello Drive late Sunday night for reports of a family fight. When they arrived, officers say they found the 23-year-old dead inside the home. Right now, the victim's brother is facing assault and battery charges. He's being held without bail. A home invasion investigation leading to an officer-involved shooting in Chicopee. Police say an officer shot the suspect during a chase in the area of Center Street Monday night. The suspect was taken to a hospital to be treated. Covering more news today, the CIA director is briefing a small group of lawmakers on the death of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi today. Gina Haspel is meeting with Senate leaders and heads of national security committees. The CIA says the Saudi crown prince ordered Khashoggi's murder. Haspel is outlining the reasons why the agency came to that conclusion. Khashoggi, who also worked for the Washington Post, was last seen entering the Saudi consulate in Turkey. The Saudis say he was accidentally killed in a brawl. Khashoggi was an outspoken critic of the crown prince.
New concerns now in the Russia investigation. Legal experts sounding the alarm after a tweet from President Trump praises a key witness. President Trump sending out support for this man, Roger Stone. Stone is a former campaign advisor who says he will not testify against President Trump in the investigation into Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. Now some are asking if the president is trying to improperly influence witnesses in the Mueller probe. Now, this is the tweet from the president. It starts with a statement from Stone saying, "I will never testify against Trump." This statement was recently made by Roger Stone, essentially stating that he will not be forced by a rogue and out-of-control prosecutor to make up lies and stories about President Trump. Nice to know that some people still have guts. And we could learn new details in the Russia investigation later today. Special counsel Robert Mueller is expected to file court documents that reveal the extent of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's cooperation. It could also shed some light on the next possible criminal indictments. The deadline to file the document is at midnight.
Breaking news from the National Hockey League. The NHL announcing Seattle will be getting a team. Seattle will be the league's 32nd franchise. The expansion is planned for the 2021-22 season. We'll have more on this as it becomes available.
Coming up here on 7 News at noon, rolling out the Red Sox red carpet. The team celebrating the historic World Series win with the release of a new documentary.
Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker helping to light the State House menorah as the city continues to celebrate Hanukkah.
And a lot of cold air in the 7-day forecast. We'll let you know how long we're stuck in the 30s with your full forecast.